Enrolling. Yeah, I'm trying to get my background up. Somebody's calling me shy. Hold on. It's the wrong page. All right, welcome to the Balanced Millennial Monday. Today we are going to be talking about your relationships. We're going to be talking about relationships. Hey, Kaden. Thank you for joining. Make sure you share this to anybody that you know needs a little bit of relationship chat. We're not just talking about romantic relationship. We're talking about relationships in general. So relationships with yourself, with your parents, with your kids, with your partner, with your at work, all your friendships, all of that. So we're talking about relationships. So share this with anybody you feel like needs to hear this. We are going to get into it in just a moment. We are talking about relationships. I cannot see who's watching on YouTube, so shout out to everybody that's on YouTube as well. And we are gonna get started soon. Make sure you share this with anybody who needs a little relationship chat. Maybe this is the sign that you were looking for, that you were needing to get some confirmation in your life about your relationships. And I am happy to give that to you today. So make sure you share. All right. So let's get started. My name is Kim, I am the conscious living coach, and I help guide millennials out of survival mode and into a more balanced lifestyle. Now, I do this by focusing on topics like this. We talk about friendships, we talk about relationships, we talk about things that actually matter to you and in your life. So let's get started. This all started with a journal prompt. The journal prompt was, what have my relationships taught me? What have my relationships taught me? That was the journal prompt. So I posed that journal prompt because a lot of times when we're talking about self-discovery, when we're talking about personal growth, when we're talking about professional growth, we are heavily focused on self. We are heavily focused on what we do, what we think, what we feel. But what we don't pay enough attention to on our own personal journeys is the relationships around us. Because the relationships that are around you are going to determine where you're going. They're going to determine the interactions you have. They're going to determine your belief systems. They are going to determine a lot of things in your life. So if you're not also paying close attention to your relationships while you're on this journey, while you're on this personal growth, personal discovery journey, then you're going to miss a lot. You are going to miss a lot because you need to know what's going on in your relationships. A lot of times, the insecurities that you have, the fears that you have, the failures that you're experiencing are because of the relationships that you are nurturing. Every relationship that you have in your life, you're nurturing it some way, somehow, even if it's the bare minimum. Even if it's the bare minimum, even if you're giving it the lowest amount of time in your life, you're still nurturing it. You're still helping it grow. Even giving a plant a little bit of water every couple weeks is enough for that plant to continue to grow. So you're still nurturing these relationships. So you want to start asking yourself, like, what are these relationships teaching me? What are these relationships teaching me? What am I learning about myself? What am I learning about others? What am I learning about the collective, about community, about the people around me from my relationships? So when you start there, that also gives you a deeper insight into who you are. Because a lot of times, who you see in the mirror and what you see in the mirror is not really the reality. Good and bad. Good and bad. There are people who have amazing bodies, beautiful faces, lovely hair. But when they look in the mirror, they don't see those things. So it's good to start assessing your relationships and asking the people around you how they see you and how they view you in order to help align your views with what they're saying. So, what have my relationships taught me? One of the big things that I do with my clients and help my clients with is I want them to understand where they have gave too much in their relationships. Where have you gave too much in your relationships? Giving too much can look like as soon as your homegirl pick up the phone because she need a ride, because whatever done happened, you there, you're pulling up, it's nothing to you. As soon as you call their phone because you need support and you need help, nobody answers the phone. Nobody's, anywhere to be found. That's when you know you're giving too much. That's when you know you're giving too much. You know you're giving too much at your job when you're burnt out. When you wake up every single day at your job and you're dreading going to work and you're dreading the day, you're giving too much at work. You're giving too much to your coworkers at work. Every single time one of your coworkers doesn't know an answer, your ass is raising your hand and saying you got the answer. Let them figure that shit out. You're giving too much. Every time your boss puts a project out there, you're the one raising your hand and saying you want to take the project. Knowing you don't have the capacity to take this project. Knowing you don't have the energy. Knowing you don't have the interest to take this project. You're giving too much. With your kids, you your kid, every single need your kid has, you fulfill it. Because you feel like as the mother, you feel like as the father, you feel like because you're their parent, you have to take care of every single need that child expresses. At what point do they learn how to take care of themselves? You're doing too much. You're giving too much. You need to start asking yourself, where am I giving too much? Where am I giving too much? What relationships am I pouring too much of myself into to the point where I don't recognize myself when I wake up in the morning? When I look in the mirror or when I avoid the mirror, I don't recognize myself. So where are you giving too much? What relationships are draining the hell out of you? What relationships are taking your spunk, your fire, your energy? Because you're giving too much. You don't have to take on every single project that comes across your desk. I tell my kids to allow their brains to figure. Yes, I tell Rich that all the time. Figure it out. Figure it out. Figure it out. Do you know how many adults right now at their grown big age literally cannot figure things out on their own? Because their parents and the people around them solved every single problem for them. Because their parents and the people around them burned themselves out, fulfilling their every single need. They never learned how to self-soothe. They never learned how to calm themselves down. They never learned how to put puzzles together. They never learned how to do anything because they always had somebody doing too much. They always had somebody doing too much. Where are you not doing enough? What relationships are you not doing enough? Is your partner complaining because you've been working so much that you haven't been on a date in 2 months? Is your boss complaining because you are taking so many days off work and you are scrolling on your phone all day at work and you are just slacking on the job, knowing you need that income, knowing you prayed for that job, knowing you asked to be in this position that you're in right now? When you have a group project at work and you're not doing your part, everybody else got to pick up your slack. Where are you not giving enough? The kids are not on their correct reading level because you're not practicing reading at home. You're not doing homework at home. You're not putting them in a position where they learn outside of school. What relationships are you not doing enough? What relationships are you not doing enough? The reason why this is so important is to ask yourself where you're doing too much and when you're not doing enough is because that's where you start aligning. That space in the middle is called alignment. That space in the middle is called balance. Because once you figure out the balance between doing too much and not enough, that's when you get to wake up with energy. That's when you get to wake up with passion. That's when you get to wake up and you get to feel like yourself. That is the in between. That's the balance that you have to find. And that's the reason why you have to start asking yourself, where am I giving too much and where am I not giving enough? Because a lot of times where you're giving too much, you need to pull that energy back and invest it in where you're not giving enough. A good example of this, I have a client who was trying to date y'all on the date apps, all that good stuff, right? Trying to date. And nothing wrong with that. Get on the apps, do your thing, But you're not cleaning. She was not taking care of her home because she was so heavily focused on these dating apps and having these conversations and meeting this man. She was frustrated and angry and annoyed all the time because the dating apps were consuming her energy because they weren't getting nowhere. They weren't getting nowhere. So that's the reason why you have to know that balance when it comes to your relationships, about where you're giving too much and where you're not giving enough, because that's where you are going to find peace, is that balance. That's where you're going to find the space to breathe. That's where that tightness in your chest is going to go away. It's in that in between space. Because right now you're on one end of the spectrum. It's never good to be on one end of the spectrum. It's always good to find a place right in the middle or as close to balance for you as possible. So I want you to assess that with yourself. Ask yourself, what relationships are you giving too much? And what relationships are you just not giving enough? Your friendships, your partnerships, your business, if you're running a business, your passions, if you got to study for a test, but you're on the phone gossiping all night. All of these things are relationships. All of these things are connections. All of these things are energy. What relationships were you molding and shrinking to fit in? What relationships were you molding or shrinking to fit in? What relationships were you molding or shrinking to fit in? A lot of times people feel like because they're adults, I'm not trying to fit in. I don't give a damn what these people think about me. Man, I ain't trying to hear all none of that. Whole time you do care. You do care. Because when old girl said that wild shit in the group last week, you didn't check her. You kikied with her. You knew that shit was lame, but you kikied with her instead. You knew that shit was weird, but you kikied with her instead. So you shrunk. You shrunk. So what relationships are you shrinking and molding to fit in? What relationships are you molding and shrinking to fit in? Instead of speaking up when you know the conversation don't make sense, the conversation is weird, the conversation ain't aligned, instead of speaking up, you just blending in with them. You know they saying weird shit. You know that's supposed to be that girl best friend, but she in a group chat talking about her. You know that's weird. You know that woman married, but she over here flirt with this man. You know that's weird. But instead of speaking up, you kikiing with them. So that means you shrunk. That means you let that relationship shrink you. You let that relationship mold you into someone you are not. Erica, what about relationships that no longer serve you, trying to cut loose, but the opposing party won't let go? Got you. Relationships that no longer serve you. Relationships that no longer serve you, but the other person won't let go. The other person won't let go. They like to call that on social media a narcissist. I hate that word. But they like to call that on social media a narcissist. Y'all, most people are 99 point, I think it's 98 point something percent of people are not narcissists. Like the percentage to be diagnosed as a narcissist is like a little under 2%. But someone that won't let go. Now I know what you're talking about, so I'm gonna come back to that, but I'm gonna go general first. First, you need to be blocking them. You need to be blocking them. They need to be blocked. Communication needs to be cut. But I do understand how there are times where even when you cut communication with somebody, they just find another way to communicate with you. They just find another way to communicate with you. You have to accept that some people, no matter what you're doing, they're not going to move on with their life. They're not going to move on with their life. That reminds me of the woman who, I think she had a restraining order against this guy. And 10 years, it was 10 years, 10 years, 10 years later, he killed her and her son. Some people are never going to mentally let go. There are some people now, and this goes into my point about monitoring spirits. There are some people now who you've cut off a long time ago, and they watch everything you do, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. You don't even know that they're watching everything that you do because they are not going to let go. So when you're dealing with someone and this is a relationship where the other person doesn't want to let go, but you have washed your hands with it, you just have to accept that you can't control the other person. And so, Eric, I feel like this goes back to your point, is the fact that you can't control them. Only thing that you can control is how you respond to them. So if there's a relationship that you've cut ties with, you've decided I'm no longer dealing with this person is no longer going to be a part of my life, all you can do is control how you respond to them. I can give y'all a perfect example. I had a client, her and the baby daddy split, right? They split, going two different ways. He never let it go. He never let it go. Never let it go. Never let it go. Even though he was terrible in the relationship, he never let it go. And of course, because they have a child together, they still had to interact with each other. So the things that we worked on was her responses to him. Because men who behave like that, they like to see you get riled up because that's love to them. They like to see you get upset because that's love to them. When y'all are going over these when y'all are reflecting over these relationships, you got to start thinking. This is another reason why I say you can't just focus on you when you're in this journey. You have to start thinking about how other people think about things too, not just how you view love, not just how you view acceptance and things like that. Think about how others view it. A lot of men and women view love as unhealthy. They don't know healthy love. They don't know that it's weird to keep coming on to someone after they told them after you said no. They don't know that. So that's where this reflection comes into play when it's time for you to create healthier relationships, is that you have to start realizing the way that you respond is going to determine how big this energy grows. Because again, a lot of men see love as pain. So if they know they're inflicting pain on you, to them, they love you and you should accept it and you should love them back and you should inflict pain back onto them. So you have to control your response. You have to give the very minimal energy to when you speak to them. And it can't be from a petty like place either. This can't be from I'm gonna get a silent treatment because I'm gonna be petty. He think he finna play with me. I bet I got something for that ass. You can't go into it like that, because if you go into it like that, they love that shit. They love that energy. So when you're dealing with someone who won't move on, you just have to control how you respond to them. Because again, these people, when you get pissed off and you cuss them out and you call them all kind of assholes, this and that, when you do all that, they love that shit. Because to them, that means you love them. That means you love them. Because if you didn't love them, why would you be doing all that? If you didn't love them, why would you feel the need to even have that much energy towards them? That's how they see it. So when you're trying to disconnect from someone who won't disconnect from you, you just have to start being very minimal with them. So even in conversation, let's say you have to speak to them because there's a kid. You have to talk to them. There's a kid involved. You don't have a choice, all right? Answer the question and keep it moving. Hey, how you doing? Good. Hey, kids. How's everything at work? It's all right. Here's your kids. You have to keep it minimal because that's not what they want. They're only doing what they want to do. And you got to let them have that. They're only doing what they want to do. It's your response that you can control. You can't control their response. You can't control how they interact with you. And you have to stick to that. That was another point of this. When we're talking about molding and shrinking instead of standing on business. If you're done with somebody, if you are done with somebody, like you're done, I'm never going back to this person. We are done. They done disrespected me for the last time. This is over with. Stand on that. Because the moment, the first moment you fold, they're never going to leave you alone. Because in their mind, they can always get you to fold again. They can always get you to fold again. The first time that you don't stand on business, they love that shit. They love when you don't stand on business because what they have done in their brain is they've created a formula. They know exactly what the formula is to get you to fold. So as soon as you do that, they're gonna use that formula against you every single time. And then once they get tired of that formula, let's say you fold it once and then that formula hasn't worked for months, they just gonna find a new formula. They're just gonna find a new formula. So if you're really serious about disconnecting from someone, that means that you shouldn't be sitting up having phone conversations with them. You should not be their confidant. I don't care if their grandmama just died. Because you know they love to talk about their grandmama. I don't care if their grandmama just died. Don't sit up on the phone with them and console them. That's no longer your responsibility. That's no longer your problem. That's no longer part of your life because you've decided that this is a relationship that you're no longer going to nurture. Because again, the smallest thing is nurturing a relationship. Like I said at the beginning, if you water a plant, a little bit of water 3 weeks ago is enough for that plant to be nurtured. So everything that you do in your relationships is nurturing. Whether it's healthy or unhealthy, it's still nurturing it. So if you're saying that you no longer want to have this relationship in your life, then you need to stop nurturing it. You need to stop giving it energy. And you need to remember that you can only control your reaction. And you need to stand on business. I'm telling you, the moment you fold, that's it. They're never going to believe that you don't want them no more. They're never going to believe that you don't want that relationship. They're never going to believe that you don't want that friendship. They're never going to believe anything you say because you're a liar. You said you ain't fucking with them no more. And as soon as they called your phone, you pick that phone up. You're a liar. They know you're a liar. That has now become your personality trait, is that you lie. And since they know that you're a liar, they know you be lying. They know you be lying. So don't be a liar. Stand on business. If you say you ain't fuck with them folks no more, stand on that. Because as soon as you don't stand on that, you're a liar. And people who won't let relationships go love liars. They be fucking lying. They love liars. Because once they know that you're a liar, oh, y'all one and the same now. I deserve you. You deserve me. We be lying together. I'm just telling y'all what they be thinking. I'm just telling y'all what they be thinking because all I'm saying is, as someone who I've dated I've dated for years. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This past year been hard, but the years before this, it was easy to date. And men have always felt comfortable telling me things. So I've learned a lot about the way that men think in these scenarios. So yeah. Yep, they're gonna do everything they want to do. Yep, Canario. So when it comes to your relationships, right? And this is a good point right here. When are you absorbing other personalities? When are you absorbing your best friend's personality? When are you absorbing your boss's personality, your coworker's personality, your kid's personality? When are you absorbing these people's personalities? Because when you're reflecting on your relationships, you want to know what is you, like this is who you are, and this is someone else. You want to separate the two. And it's not always bad to absorb people's personalities. It only becomes bad when you disconnect from who you are, because as you have interactions with people, period, you're going to say things like them. You're going to pull it, you're going to catch their lingo sometimes. You're going to have some of their same interests now because you probably didn't know anything about Naruto. How I say that? Y'all know I ain't no anime nerd, but you may not have known anything about anime before you became friends with this person, or before you started dating this person, or before you started working with this person. So it's not always a negative thing that you can absorb other people's personalities. The issue becomes when there is a disconnect between that person's personality and yours. There might be a disconnect. You have to start paying attention to when you are taking on someone else's personality and when that personality shows up. So if you're at work absorbing your coworker's personality and you're working like them, by the end of the day, you're gonna be tired as hell because you was in a mask all day. You was wearing somebody else's personality all day. Unless you a paid actor, take that shit off. You don't need that all day long. Have that conversation, have that engagement, talk about those interests, learn something new. Let that be that. Because once you start absorbing other people's personalities to the point where you don't know who you are anymore, your ass is gonna go into crisis. You're gonna have a whole existential identity crisis, and the shit is gonna hurt. And it is going to be exhausting because what's gonna happen is you are gonna start showing your ass. you're gonna be the one ruining your relationships. You're gonna be the one ruining your career opportunities. You're gonna be the one fucking things up for yourself because you have absorbed other people's personalities so much that you don't know who you are. You're gonna be the friend that they call fake because they don't know which one of the friend group is gonna start showing up. They don't know if you finna be her, him, them. We don't know who you finna be because you take on other people's personalities so much. Nobody knows who you are. Erica said, I never heard of that, absorbing personalities, but I can see it and understand it. Mm-hmm. I have a post on TikTok where I talk about how the brain works. So I'll get into that now. So the way that the brain works is that the brain is literally constantly taking in information, constantly taking in information. Some of us more than others, but it's either way it goes, it's constantly taking in information. So when I'm talking about how you are absorbing personalities, what I mean is that your brain is picking up on the way that your coworker talks. Your brain likes the way that your coworker talks because you don't like the way you talk. So your brain likes the way your coworker talks. This is not something you're doing consciously. This is subconscious. So because your brain likes the way your coworker talks, now you're talking like your coworker. Because your brain likes the way your best friend thinks, now you're thinking like your best friend. Because your brain likes the way I don't know, a speaker, let's say someone that you watch on YouTube all the time, like an influencer, blogger, whatever the case may be, because you like their lifestyle, now you're absorbing the personality that they have in those videos because you don't like your lifestyle. Your brain is going to do that subconsciously. So when I'm talking about absorbing personalities, that's what I mean. I mean that your brain is constantly taking in information and constantly taking in data. And you have to be aware of when your brain is doing that a little too much. Canary said, doing customer service, I get countryer. When talking to country people, I have to catch myself. That is funny. I get countryer when talking to country people, which that's how it is. That's how it is, especially when you do have a certain trait. Because when you're doing customer service, a lot of times if you are country, like I am country, it only comes out sometimes when I'm talking. And a lot of people would never know that I'm country because they hear my speaker. This is my speaker voice. I'm talking to y'all in my speaker voice. Because if I talk to y'all in my actual accent, everything would be slurred. I talk real fast. So you would have to like really sit and listen to me. And I don't want to make it harder for y'all to get this information. So I talk to y'all in my speaker voice. But if I want to talk to y'all in my speaker voice, I'd just be talking real fast. You really would have to catch up with me, and it is what it is. So that it just, but the thing is, you have to know yourself to know what's going on with that. I know that I'm talking to y'all in my speaker voice. I know that when I am not in my speaker voice, sometimes I have to repeat myself because I done said some shit too fast. Or I done said a word wrong. So if I was not talking to y'all in my speaker voice, I would be fucking up words a lot because I am country. I'm very educated, highly educated, but I am country. So you have to realize what's going on with you. What's going on with these relationships? Thank you, Erica. She said, we love your speaker voice. Thank y'all. You know, it took a lot of practice. So absorbing personalities. Again, when I say that, that's nothing but your brain taking in data all the time and using that data to replace what it does not like. So this is another reason why it's so important for you to be paying attention to these relationships. Because what you don't like about yourself is going to be amplified in the relationships around you. It's going to be amplified in the relationships around you. Whatever you don't like about yourself, your brain is going to subconsciously pick up those traits in other people. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. I'm going to talk a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more about the monitoring. See, yeah. When I be fucking words up like that, that's my accent coming out. Because normally I would just say that word monitoring. You know? But the way that I speak, you know, a lot of people would not know what I'm saying. And I just don't, you know, as a speaker, you can't go out like that. So monitoring spirits, right? Monitoring spirits. These are the people that watch everything you do, but never comment, never share, never engage, nothing. They just watch you. One thing about me is when I am done dealing with someone, that's all you get to be. That's all you get to be is a monitoring spirit. I know, right? Real Georgia. I know. Georgia Peach, Southern Belle, all that. So a monitoring spirit. These are the people who never engage. They never engage. They don't share nothing that you post. They don't comment on nothing you post. They just watching you. They're just watching you. I can give y'all an example of a monitoring spirit. So I had a client was dating this guy and she didn't really like him like that. And I'm very, very big on being honest and upfront, especially when dating. Like if you don't like somebody like that, just say that. How they take it is on them. But the fact that you were honest instead of leading them on, burning through them pockets, because real city girl behavior. So instead of leading them on, burning through them pockets, doing all that, you just let them know, hey, I'm not really feeling you. I don't see this growing. I I think, I want to end this here. So advised her to do all that. She did all that. Y'all, when I tell you this man was just watching her online, like just watching her, just watching her, just watching her. And she knew that he was watching her because she would post something and he wouldn't engage with the post. He wouldn't like it, wouldn't share it, nothing like that. But he would hit her up. He would hit her up. Like as soon as she posts, here he is in her text messages, hitting her up. It got to the point where he was such a monitoring spirit. Hold on, I'm putting my charger up. It got to the point where he was such a monitoring spirit that I told her, like, you got to block him. You have to block him. You have to block him. Because men like that, people like that only get creepier. It only gets weirder. Canario said, then tell your whole life when you see them. Yes. Oh my God. There's I think it was Regina Hall, right? Which I love Regina Hall. Love. Hope to meet her one day. Love Regina Hall. And there was a video of some clip of some show where she sees this woman and they're like friends. And I think she brought up something from Facebook. And her friend was like, oh, yeah, I saw that, yada, yada, yada. And she was like, oh, you did? Well, you didn't like it. You didn't comment on it. You didn't share it. So I didn't think you saw it. Monitoring spirit, y'all. People are online sharing stuff, liking stuff all day long. So don't let anyone play with you in that way. Don't let anyone make it seem like, oh, I don't be online like that. Oh, I ain't even see it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Especially with TikTok, you can see views. I remember, y'all, no lie, there was this guy, right? He didn't know that I could see views on TikTok because he's not on TikTok. He wasn't posting videos on TikTok. He was just watching stuff on TikTok. He didn't know I could see views. I'm constantly seeing him in my views, but not liking it. And I told him straight up, I'm like, you need to like my content or else that interferes with how far TikTok pushes my content. So if someone who knows me personally, is not liking, sharing, engaging with my content, that's just one other person that is interfering with how far my content gets pushed. And he was definitely like, oh, I didn't know you could see it. Monitoring spirits. That's a monitoring spirit, because why should you have to tell someone that you know in real life to like your post, to share your post, to engage with your post? Monitoring spirits. So I want you to start paying attention to that as well. People who can tell you about what you posted, tell you about what you said online, but never engage with it. Especially if you're a business owner or you're in a phase where you're trying to make content, like you want to be a content creator and stuff like that, and these are your so-called friends, they're not. Sorry to break any hearts today. They're not your friend. All right, so to end these cycles, right? Because I can't, you know me, I'm a solutionist. I can't just talk about a whole bunch of problems and then just be like, good night, y'all. See y'all next week. Can't do that. So to end these cycles so you can attract the relationships that you desire, you got to get uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable. You got to get uncomfortable. You have to start being comfortable with being alone. You have to start being comfortable with your silence. You have to start being comfortable with not having a crowd around you. You got to start being comfortable with buying tickets to places by yourself. You got to start getting comfortable with taking solo trips. You have to start getting comfortable with yourself, because the best way to attract the relationships that you desire is to be the person. It's to be the person that is solid on their own. Solid on your own. Because what happens a lot of times, the reason why a lot of y'all get stuck in these cycles where you're giving too much or giving not enough, where you're shrinking to fit in, where you're absorbing other personalities, where you're in these places with these monitoring spirits. The reason why you're stuck in these cycles is because you're not comfortable with just who you are. You're not standing solid on who you are. So you keep repeating these cycles. You keep making the same friends. You keep having the same relationships. You keep having the same conversations with your kids. You keep being stuck at the same job. You keep being stuck at the same pay because you're scared to get uncomfortable. You are scared to get uncomfortable. You're scared to tell old girl she trifling as hell. You scared to say that because you like, damn, what's she gonna think about me when I say that? She trifling as hell. What the fuck does it matter what she thinks? Yeah, my bad. I'm just saying. You scared to give feedback to your boss because you worried about getting fired. Then quit that goddamn job then. If you can't get feedback at your job, if you can't be honest, and I don't mean too honest, like, you know, there's a limit, you know. But if it's really some BS going on and you are too scared to speak up about that BS, quit that job and go find you another one because that's lame. It's lame as hell. And it's going to keep you comfortable. It's going to keep you comfortable. If you're scared to be yourself in any room, you're going to keep repeating cycles. You're going to keep repeating cycles. Because every time you enter a room, you become whatever the room needs you to be. You become whatever the room needs you to be. The room need a class clown. Here you go cracking lame ass jokes. The room need a therapist. Here you go listening to everybody bullshit ass problems. The room need an event planner. Here you go organizing some shit you ain't getting paid for. The room need a mother. Here you go nurturing people who wouldn't even give you the shirt off their back if your shit ripped in the middle of the day. So until you get comfortable being uncomfortable, you're going to keep repeating these cycles. You're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're going to keep attracting the same people. They're going to keep telling you the same bullshit. You're going to keep not speaking up about that bullshit. And you're just going to attract more people like that. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be able to stand solid in who you are, no matter the room. My favorite thing is to get around people who feel a way about the fact that I don't give a damn. Love it. Be bothered over there in the corner while I don't give a damn over here. I love it. Because I'm not going to mold to the room. And this doesn't have anything to do with people who are, you know, more into seeing what's going on and seeing what kind of space they're in. That's necessary. All I'm saying is don't mold to that space. You should still be showing up as yourself in that space. You should still be showing up in that space solid in who you are, confident in who you are. I don't care if it's a millionaire in this room. I'm not going to shrink because there's a millionaire in the room. I don't care if Beyonce is in this room. I'm not going to shrink because Beyonce is in the room. I'm going to give me a picture though. I ain't going to lie to you. I got to touch the queen, you know. But I ain't going to shrink. I'm not going to make myself smaller. I'm not going to feel like I'm less than or feel less confident because I'm not the millionaire that's in the room. That's the difference between people who get to experience healthy relationships in their life and the people who don't. Because the people who don't get to experience healthy relationships, it's because they're choosing those cycles over and over and over again instead of breaking that pattern and creating a new cycle for them. And I can speak about that personally. I was in toxic ass relationships for years. For years. Friendships and romantic. For years. And at one point I had to decide that I had to go through the pain of no longer accepting that in my life. And at some point you have to make that decision too. At some point you have to decide and you have to say that this is just not good enough for me. This relationship is not good enough. This experience is not good enough. This shit low budget as hell. It's low vibrational as hell. I'm not really getting anything from this. I'm not growing from this. That's the reason why you have to start paying attention to your relationships. I'm telling you now, go ask anyone that's successful, someone that you see as a success. Go ask them how they did it, and community is going to be a part of that. Community is going to be a part of that. Somebody along the lines helped them get there. Somebody along the lines had a solution, had a room, had a person, had a connection that person did not have. But because they're in their community, they were able to use it. So you're not going to create healthier relationships, healthier cycles until you get uncomfortable. Until you go into the rooms that make you uncomfortable. Until you go into the rooms that make you stand up in who you are. So whoever you got to block their ass. Whoever you got to check their ass. Whoever needs to be put on mute their ass. And deal with the pain of letting them go. Because I'm not saying this is easy. None of the work that I do is easy. I never want anybody to think that they're going to work with me and that shit going to be easy. Erica, is it easy? Canario, was it easy? I never want anyone to think that they're going to come work with me and it's going to be easy. It sounds easy when I'm talking about it, so I can do that. It ain't nothing to cut that bitch off. It ain't nothing to cut that bitch off, okay? It sounds like that, but it hurts. It's painful. When you have to end friendships with people who you thought were going to be with you forever, it's painful. When you have to end jobs that you love with a passion, but because they just don't respect you, they don't value you, it's painful. When you have to end romantic relationships because they just aren't treating you well and aren't willing to treat you well, it's painful. It hurts. It hurts to the core. It feels like a death. When you have to mourn and grieve people that are no longer in your life, but are living on this earth, it hurts. It's painful. Canario said you're going to cry a lot, but it is needed. Exactly. Working with me, you are going to cry a lot. You're going to cry a lot. You are going to experience a deep transformation when working with me. So you have to purge. You have to purge. Erica said, hell to the no. It ain't easy. Journaling my feelings was painful for me, but it's helping though. As Black women, because that's mainly who I work with. I mainly work with Black millennial women. As Black women, we are told that we're not good enough to deserve anything. We don't deserve a healthy romantic relationship. We don't deserve a man or woman to love us with health. We don't deserve to birth our babies without dying. We don't deserve to earn high salaries. We don't deserve to travel the world and experience other cultures. We are constantly told that we are less than. We are constantly told that we don't deserve good things. We don't deserve good experiences. Shedding that is painful. Shedding these belief systems that we have inherited, because these are not our belief systems. These are belief systems that we have inherited from our mom, from our grandmother, from our great-grandmother, from our great-great-grandmother. This is generations of internal hatred, internal limitations, internal ceilings. And it's painful as hell to shed those, because you're not just shedding them for yourself. You're shedding them for your ancestors. You're shedding them for your kids. You're shedding them for the generations to come. So you're not just shedding these layers. You're not just shedding these unhealthy relationships for you. You're shedding them because you deserve to. Black women save the world, literally. Henrietta Lacks. Black women heal the world, literally. So you deserve to have healthy relationships. You deserve to have someone to pick your head up when your head is down. You deserve to have a romantic partner that sees you as who you are and accepts that. You deserve to work somewhere that sees your value, because you be at work doing your goddamn thing. You deserve to be treated like you're doing your goddamn thing. That's why I'm a big advocate of quit that goddamn job. Because it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So that is how you're going to end those cycles. You have to go through the pain. You have to feel the pain. That's why I am such a big feelings person. The reason why so many people are stuck in their cycles is because they will not go through the pain. But at the end of the day, you got to choose a heart. You got to choose a heart. You want to keep letting this man cheat on you. You want to keep letting this man disrespect you. You want to keep letting this man sleep in your house and ain't pay no bills. You want to keep being a side piece. You want to keep being devalued at work. You want to keep being disrespected at work. You want to keep arguing back and forth with your kids. You want to keep shrinking every time you enter a room. Or do you want to stand firm in who you are? You want a partner that treats you the way you treat yourself. A lot of us treat ourselves very well and then accept bullshit from other people. Unacceptable behavior. So in order to break those cycles, you have to go through the pain. You have to go through the feelings. You have to identify those feelings. You have to go through the pain. One of the things that I do with my clients is I give them an emotions wheel, because I don't want you to say you mad. You're not mad. You're disappointed. You're not mad. You're frustrated. You're not mad. You're defeated. You're overwhelmed. So I love an emotion wheel because it lets you go deeper than surface level emotions. Mad, saying that you're mad is a surface level emotion. You're not a 2-year-old. You're not mad. You need to know what you're actually feeling. Erica said, I used to say I hate feeling things because I'm susceptible to pain, but thank you for my answer. Yeah. You have to get uncomfortable, y'all. You got to go through the pain. And I mean, curled up on the floor, 2:00 in the morning, crying pain. I mean, holed up in your room, ain't talked to nobody in a week, pain. I mean, I ain't went to the club. I ain't went out. I ain't got dressed, pain. Because on the other side of that pain is where you want to be. And it's not to say this pain will never come back again. The difference is you're going to know how to manage that pain when it comes back again. Because now you face your pain. You know how many people are not facing their pain every single day? Every day. That's why they just say I'm mad or I'm tired. Because they're not facing their pain. If they were facing their pain, they would be able to have healthy relationships. They would have the courage to take leaps in their life if they were facing the pain. When you don't face the pain, you keep yourself in a box. You keep yourself shrunk. You keep yourself from being honest with yourself and others. And so you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Do you know there are women? I'm 29. I'll be 30 in July. Most of my clients are somewhere between 25 to 38. Do you know how many women are 45, 50 years old and still have never faced their pain? So they are still somebody's side piece. They are still waiting on somebody to leave their wife. You know how many women are 45 and 50 years old and have never faced their pain, and they still have the same income they've had the past 15 years? Do you know how many women are 45, 50 years old and have never faced their pain, and they've never in their life experienced healthy love, whether that comes from a friendship or a romantic or within themselves? They've never experienced healthy love because they've never been willing to face their pain. So you have to choose your hard. You have to choose which battle you want to go through, because it's not easy. I said before, working with me is not easy. It's not easy because I'm going to make you face things that you have hid deep inside of you for a very long time, because that's where the pain is. That's where the pain is. And you have to release that pain. And you have to have the skills to address that pain every time it comes up, because that's where the other side comes in. That's where the healthy relationships come in. Because until you have a healthy relationship with yourself, it's going to be impossible to have it with others, because you're only going to be giving and doing at the capacity that you do and give it with yourself. So you can go through the pain now, and you can create a new lifestyle now, and you can face those fears now. Or you can be 45, 50 years old, ain't did that shit yet, and still doing the same thing that you was doing when you was 25 years old. Just because that prefrontal cortex is supposed to be fully developed at 25, don't mean it did. Because that still requires actions from you. That still requires revelations from you. There are people who are, this is your decision making. This area is decision making. For me, the switch flipped at 25. I had my son at 25. I had my son a week before I turned 25, and the switch flipped for me at 25. I literally felt like I came out of fog at 25. A lot of people don't get that experience. And they don't get that experience because they haven't been doing the work up to 25. So a lot of people are still have an underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, and they act like it. They act like it. They act like this section of their brain has not fully developed, because they're 45, they're at their big age, and they're still making mindless and unconscious mistakes and decisions. So you got to pick a hard. You got to pick a hard. You got to pick which side you're going to be on. You got to pick a side, y'all. Pick a side. And again, I am Key, the conscious living coach. I help guide millennials out of survival mode and into a balanced lifestyle. This is the work that we do, y'all. As my clients have said, this is not easy work, but it's necessary work. It's needed work. This is the kind of work that sets up the generations to come. This is the kind of work that creates healthy cycles for the generations to come. So if you are ready to do the work, not just for yourself, but for the generations to come, and you are tired of being on the rat race, you are tired of choosing the hard side of not addressing your pain and not addressing what you really want in your life, and you're always shrinking, then I am the coach for you. please make sure you DM me. Check out my website, premierpersonalgrowthfirm.com, for more information, and DM me so that way we can get on a call to see if you are a fit for the program. Again, I actually have 3 packages now. I've been over here working on some stuff. I have a 6-week package, a 9-week package, and a 12-week package. Based on the call and based on where you are in your life, that will determine which package I find best for you. So let's hop on a call. Let's see if it is time for you to make the transition. It's time for you to choose the hard that sets you up for life. It's time for you to choose the hard that sets you up for life. Thank y'all so much for joining me for yet another Balanced Millennial Mondays. Thank you, Erica. Yes, please DM me because I will call you. We will be on that phone, y'all. So thank y'all for joining me. I'll be back next Monday, every Monday at 9 p.m. Tell your friends, tell your homegirl, tell your man, tell your partner, tell your parents, tell whoever you know needs to hear these things. You ain't got to be petty about it. Just let them know, hey, this will help you out. And share this with them. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I'll be back next week at 9 p.m. for another Balanced Millennial Monday. If you ever have any topic requests, please DM me with your topic requests because I am always down to talk about whatever y'all want to hear. Thank y'all so much for joining me. See y'all next week.